Some of you may have saw a video posted by my opponent, Justin Criswell, a few weeks back. I don't want to get involved in negative campaigning. However, his negative ad was misleading, and I felt I needed to respond. I'd like to invite my opponent to the real world, with real consequences, not a fantasy land where you pick and choose, cut and edit for political gain. In the real world, we sometimes have to make tough decisions and do things we don't particularly like. It is rare, but sometimes necessary. Sometimes we have weak evidence. Sometimes witnesses are missing. We may be trying to get a bigger fish, and sometimes the law leaves us with little choice. As the Commonwealth's attorney, my job is to enforce the law, not to make it. There are penalties for some laws that I may not agree with, and I would like to see changed, but that's not my job. I must enforce the laws as they are written. The sentencing for the case that my opponent referenced in his ad took place in 2017, but the crime was actually committed in 2015. The law requires a defendant be prosecuted under the law at the time the offense was committed. The law for prosecuting heroin trafficking in 2015 was different than it is today. Thankfully, today's penalties are much stiffer for this crime, but in 2015, there was a preference for probation for this case. From day one, my opponent has incorrectly stated that my office probated drug dealers on a regular basis and that we do it all the time. And from day one, I have said we don't do that. Numbers don't lie. So I took 2017 trafficking convictions to date. I did not pick and choose. I took every one of our trafficking convictions and I put them here so you can see them for yourself. These numbers are from Kentucky Court of Justice. As you can see, in 2017, we have had 73 trafficking convictions so far. 69 of the 73 went to prison. 4 were probated to drug court. Folks, that's 95% convicted traffickers went to prison. And not one of those 4 cases sent to treatment involved heroin. That is a far cry from my opponent saying that we probate drug dealers on a regular basis and all the time. Like I said, we don't do that. The conviction numbers for 2018 are obviously not in yet, but they are on track to be even better than 2017. In fact, we've already received a 30-year sentencing on a trafficking case at jury trial. That got me to thinking. My opponent talks about his experience prosecuting felony child support cases in circuit court, so I decided to pull his numbers from 2017. This also came from Kentucky Court of Justice. There were 35 flagrant non-support felony cases in 2017 with convictions so far. Out of 35 convictions, 34 were probated. 1 was sent to prison. That 1 case ran concurrent with a trafficking sentence that my office handed down. 98% of the felony cases that Justin Criswell prosecuted were probated. Now let's talk about what Justin Criswell isn't telling you. In his brief career as a prosecutor, he's not tried 1 single felony case. He's asking you for you to trust him with the responsibility to prosecute all the felony cases in 3 counties: rapes, murders, kidnapping, potential death penalty cases, without having tried a single felony case. The office of the Commonwealth Attorney is too important to the safety of your family to leave it to that sort of chance. I've tried rapes and murders. I've dealt with death penalty cases. I've been fighting the drug epidemic since the last 6 years, with conviction numbers to back it up. This election is too important for our communities, and that's why I'm asking for your vote on November 6th, because experience matters. Thank you.